I've moved on, and I'm investing in the gifts I was given, and I shouldn't pretend that I have other gifts that I don't, because also I'm stealing somebody's spot, right? Like
Yeah.
somebody should be there and I'm there, and I'm taking his or her spot, and somebody else is taking mine, and like it's not ordered and well. And
Hello and welcome back to Answer the Call podcast. As always, it's an exciting episode today because I get to talk about a client success story, and one that Kelsey and I have been so excited to share. And we've also probably been teasing it for the past 12 episodes, I want to say. We're like, just wait until you hear Delphine's story. So we have Delphine on the podcast today, and we're just going to get into it. So Delphine, can you say hello and then share where were you, what job were you in before coaching, and what you're doing now? And then we'll fill in the details in this episode.
that sounds good. Okay, so my name is Delphine. Before going into coaching, I was working in financial services. I live in New York. I was working at a broker dealer and doing compliance. Back in November, I got laid off, and it was it was a shock and difficult, but I also had sort of like immediate peace in that moment, and really immediate, because I just knew that it was time to change also. It was time for a shift. So I spent some time thinking about that, and I was searching for Christian career counseling, and you guys were the first hit, and yeah, I got put in touch with you, and then I ended up taking a pretty big pivot. So yeah, and yeah, so I don't know if you want me to go
Yeah,
into
share a little bit. I always try to have people share what they're doing so that our listeners have something to look forward to see how all of the pieces come together, because you did take a big pivot. So tell us what your business is now, since you are a business owner.
Yes, I am a business owner. So I own a business called Poesis Art Advisory, and I do art advisory, but the easiest way to describe it, I think, is art advisory meets styling. So I custom curate gallery walls and art collections for busy professionals. I take into account budget, aesthetics, art style, and I help them create a collection of art that really works for who they are, that really speaks to who they are, and is like highly personal and meaningful to them. So yeah, it's really, it's when people say like they're passionate about what they do. I mean, I really feel that way. It's so gratifying when I get to sell a piece of art, when I get to connect the perfect collector with the perfect painting or piece of art. It's like the best feeling in the world. And yeah, it's a super exciting thing for me to be doing. So yeah, this process was awesome for me because yeah, it led me to something that I always thought people were making this up, but I am actually excited to get up in the morning and go to work. So
I would cry.
yes,
Cry.
it's a true thing. It actually happens.
Yeah, absolutely. So, everyone listening, you can probably tell already why Kelsey and I are obsessed with Delphine's business and how she talks about it. I love seeing the light and joy seriously pour out of you, even when you come to our group calls and you're like, I don't know how to work through this. And then you get some coaching, and it's just, you take that coaching and you implement it, and next time you're working on something new. Like, it's so inspiring to see, and it's so gratifying for me to see, like the feeling that you get when you connect the art and the person buying the art or the artist. That's what I get when I get to have a conversation with you about your career. But let's take it back to where you were at about 6 months ago. After the layoff, you're coming into coaching. Did you have any predictions for where you would land after coaching?
I thought I was going to go back into finance, but just like sort of in a different role or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought I would do something more like HR or something, because I do, I really love people, and I feel like my last job was maybe too numbers focused and not enough, like too much data and not enough people. So I thought I maybe would just like go back into finance, since like New York is like finance capital of the
Mhm.
world, and I thought I would just sort of do a pivot within the industry. Um, but yeah, that wasn't what was that wasn't what was in store for me.
Wasn't in the cards. So actually, that brings up an interesting thought that I'd love you to expand on, because do you, how do you think your environment kind of played into your idea of career and work? Because I think anybody understands, especially people who live in New York, just the environment of this like hustle culture, have to be in a high performing job, like really impressive. How did that affect you?
I mean, it definitely did. Um, So I can say a couple of things about that. First of all, New York is very expensive. I
Mm.
don't know if
Yeah.
anyone knows that, but it's a very difficult place to live. And I spent a long time in New York not quite making enough money,
Mm.
and I think I didn't want to go back to that feeling. So finance is a good option for that, because even if you're not in like the classic like Wall Street trading jobs, okay, you're in sort of like back office jobs, you're still making a healthy, comfortable salary. And I think that my early years in my 20s and my 30s, I didn't want to go back to that feeling. Um, and that still comes up for me a bit, especially now because I have a child and I have to provide for that child.
Yeah.
So it's that's still there, but I think that was definitely part of it, and then also you just start to develop like what the kind of like the avatar for a successful person is. And for me, that was, especially as a woman, I was like, okay, I have to be sort of like this professional woman. I want to be really like well regarded and well perceived, and so I need to be on like, okay, I didn't go to medical school, so that's out. I don't really want to go to law school, but like, what can I do that will give me um, a sense of validity? And
Mm.
and that was something kind of numbers focused and finance and whatever. And since I didn't have the educational background for it, I kind of went into it in an alternative way, and it worked out for me for a while. It provided that financial stability that I needed, and I think that's something that the financial end of it too is, sometimes you just need to listen to that. I think at some stages
Mhm.
of your life, like it depends where you are, but taking a career risk it's tricky, and I think people need to listen to the reality of their situation also. Like that does, it does. Right now, I'm in a place where I can take a little bit of a risk, and I don't think I could have done that 10 years ago. But anyway, um, all that to say that, yeah, I think the city really, really influenced how I saw myself and how I projected my career. And it's been really like a coming home to start this business, because I'm allowing myself to kind of be a truer version of myself, as somebody that's not really um, focused on survival and just and yeah, I think I'm kind of out of survival mode and really coming back to who I actually am and how I want to, what do I want to do in this life? Like, how do I want to contribute? So, yeah,
Mhm.
that was a long answer to
That
your
was
question.
so beautiful. That was so beautiful. And that's a great picture of just the entire clarity process that we walked through together. You had a clarity process of breakthroughs. I feel like every call we're like, you're recognizing something new. And we were just always moving forward. Oh, I just hit my microphone. Moving forward through that. And the sense of coming home. I want to go back to that because I think that's a beautiful way to put it. What breakthroughs did you have that allowed you to kind of like lay down this restraint of kind of image or status that and provision that the finance world provided
Mhm.
or that it had? What allowed you to lay that down or to start working through that and come back home to yourself?
I think the preparation was still while I was working, and I was learning more um, about how to integrate faith into work, and the idea that your work is an extension of what God is doing in your life. And so it has to kind of make sense. And I couldn't quite make sense of myself, honestly, while I was in that old job. I couldn't figure, I was like, God, like you gave me these qualities that are not at all congruent with what I'm seeing around me. And I don't know what to do. And I don't know what to do. And I don't know what to do. And I was just constantly kind of mulling it over. Then I got laid off. And that was why I was in that. I at first was very scared. And then it was like within like 10 minutes, the peace came and I was like,
What?
no, God is working here. This is okay. It's scary, but it's okay. I know something's happening. And so that that groundwork um was there when I met you and Kelsey, and so I was ready for the the like the the other epiphanies that came. And so I said, okay, I know I like people a lot. I want to be working with people. I feel very like I want to touch people on kind of like a deep level, and I don't want to be a therapist. So what do I do with that? Um, I I know I love art. I know I had taken aptitude tests after I got out of college that said I was like very, I had like I was in the 99th percentile for like color differentiation, like things where you're like, okay, what
Cool.
am I supposed to do with this information? um, and so I knew I had these like talents related to art, but it's like all these disparate parts, and I sort of felt like a bite. I don't know if this image makes sense to people, but like a bicycle that wasn't quite like working.
Yeah.
um, and and then so a couple of things happened. First, I listened to your podcast around Christmas with CD Art Gallery, Catherine Dolliver,
Yes.
and I remember just being purely jealous. Like I'm just really envious. Like this is so annoying. Why is she?
I'm just living my dream.
She's living my dream. Hey,
Yeah.
and I knew that like that envy was like a good sign.
Mhm.
And then there was another podcast, and I can't remember which one it was, where somebody was talking about being an entrepreneur and just being able to like change paths in the day, like, or
Mhm.
change hats, I guess, like really quickly. And I was like, oh, that is me. I don't like, my husband always teases me that my favorite flavor is variety. Like, I just want to be all over the place. I don't want to be like stuck on anything. And I think that in that sense, entrepreneurship is really right for me because I can do what I like. I don't like to plan my day anymore. Which is so good. Like now that I don't have to plan my day anymore, I just like
Wow.
whatever. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this post for Instagram, then I'm going to do a little bit of this. Like it's just so freeing for somebody who has kind of like a creative
Mhm.
spirit. It feels so
Yeah.
good. So yeah, I think those kinds of those epiphanies, like the being able to manage your day and then being in art in some way, like the fact that Catherine was able to find a way to make a living in art, and I think that also that podcast too also sort of changed how I view the art industry again. And I was like, okay, like
Mhm.
there are some like nice folks in this industry. I should look at it again. So yes, those are
Yeah, absolutely. And I wanted to bring that up. Well, I also was thinking about the podcast episode. I remember that being a big turning point for you. You came
yeah.
back from Christmas break, if you will, where and you had listened to the episode, and there was just a whole different change in your demeanor, like so much more openness towards this idea of working in art, and also what you just said of um, being okay with going back into the industry because you had worked in the art industry before and you had some hurt from that. So what you said that podcast episode helped, but was there anything else that helped you like brave that, because I see that a lot with people where they have these past experiences and it shuts them down towards an industry or a type of role or maybe entrepreneurship altogether.
Mhm.
And when really they might be called in that direction. So, what else helped you face that fear of going back into this industry where you had faced some hurt?
A couple things. I think, first of all, the working world has changed. I mean,
Mm,
when I was in that industry, I was in my early 20s, and now I'm in my early 40s, like 20 years of culture shifting. So that's good.
yeah.
Um, and I think that you and Kelsey are so fantastic for giving
Mhm.
encouragement and like kind of taking into account and validating fears because they're real, but saying, hey, you should still keep going because you probably have something to do. And then there's the idea too that we have to be brave in this life, and we are there to bring light into situations that need it. So yeah, like, yes, that's a risk, and you have to kind of consider that risk, but you also have to find a way to take the risk, right? And so I would just repeat, like, Psalm 3, you are a shield to me, just like, okay, I'm going into it, but you're like, I'm also going to be covered, because God doesn't want me to perish, right? He doesn't want me to, like, disintegrate in this situation. He wants me to do something, and so I'm going to be empowered by God to do it. So yes, I did, and I also, FYI, didn't have that 20 years ago. I wasn't really like so involved in faith, and so I didn't have that kind of outlook. So I think I saw things differently than I do now as well. Like when I see a difficult situation, I don't necessarily take it personally, but I see it as an opportunity to bring light. So, I think that perspective shift also can help you go somewhere that's a little scary.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is so beautiful. And just that idea of courage. There's this one writer, she just, it's very simple, but she talks about like 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, and just do it. Like just count down 3, 2, 1,
Oh, I like
go
that.
for it. Send the message, make the phone call, whatever it is. Publish your website, post the thing on social media, 3, 2, 1, and just do it. So I want to go back a little bit to just like these breakthroughs that you had, because I told you I was gonna bring this up because it's one of my favorite parts of your story. Is okay, y'all, I'm reading Delphine's workbook and I'm like, oh, this gal, so cool. Art and history and people and feelings, all of these things. And then there's this one part in the workbook where we have y'all write out like what you think. Like what is what's the passion you want to take into your professional life? And actually, I wrote it down. I'm going to read exactly what she said because I have never faced whiplash like this before in someone's workbook, and I've seen a lot. She says, so the thing that's come to mind over the last year is that I would love to be a financial analyst. And thank you for being good
You're
sport and laughing
so
about this with me
sweet.
because I'm like, what is this girl talking about? And when we got into, our first call, we started having these conversations, just like we're recounting now. It all really made sense. You were kind of in this push and pull of like the structure and what you've known and what has made sense in the past, but you were on this precipice of change.
Yeah.
So you've talked about it a little bit, but I want to give you another opportunity. What does it feel like to be look at that moment now and be like, oh, it was the precipice of change. I kind of knew that. I kind of did it, but I took the leap anyways, and now I'm coming home to myself.
Yeah.
Bring me more into that.
I mean, I think that moment was just like, hey, I'm just gonna double check that I can't be safe. Is it okay for me to be safe, Audrey? Can I be safe?
Yeah.
Like,
Wow.
and yeah, I mean, I think I had sort of like brainwashed myself a little bit into thinking about finance in a way that was similar to how I think about art, which is just like kind of a screen where you see how culture changes and what's important in culture. People buy and sell certain stocks based on what's happening, and they make art based on what's happening. And that's kind of what interests me. but the but I think that I would not be well used in that role.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that I was just probably still nervous and just needing like a final confirmation that that's not the right direction to go in.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, now looking back, I really feel like I couldn't go back. Sometimes I have nightmares where I go back and I'm like,
Wow.
how did I get this job again?
Oh my gosh. I feel the
You
same way
know,
about tech sales. Like sometimes I think about what would have to happen to my soul for me to be able to
yeah,
go back to that job. And wow.
exactly. Like I get so sad. And that's not to say like I really do miss the people I worked with. Like I don't want to like, say anything like, but it's just that like it's like how did I give up on myself again? Like
Mhm.
I I've moved on and I'm investing in the gifts I was given and I shouldn't pretend that I have other gifts that I don't. Because also I'm stealing somebody's spot, right? Like
Yeah.
somebody should be there and I'm there and I'm taking his or her spot and somebody else is taking mine and like it's not ordered and well and right. So
Yeah.
anyway, um yeah, so I don't know what happened there and I am sorry.
I think what you said of like, I just needed one final check of someone telling me like, you don't have to do
No.
this, or even accepting it yourself. Like, you don't have to be in
Yeah.
finance.
Yeah.
Which I love to be that voice. I love to say, you don't have to do that. And it's such a privilege. So, some things that came up in your workbook, I was looking back through it before this call just to kind of bring some of those conversations to the forefront of my mind. And we had written together because you had mentioned something like, I need to serve with what I have. And I asked you, what do you have? And you wrote down these things, and I'm going to read them. Or
Okay.
you said these things, I wrote them down. Good writer, sensitive to other people, very much attuned to other people, natural abilities in art, good visual memory, good with color, like you mentioned earlier, good with strategy and ideas, and having vision.
Yes. Yes.
Is that not everything you're doing now?
It kind of is. It's
Like,
awesome.
yeah, I don't mean to, recount one of our private sessions on this podcast for everyone to hear, but I thought it was so perfect. Like, oh my gosh, that's everything that you get to do now. How cool is that?
It is cool. Like it is really cool because honestly, like I felt really down about myself before this happened. Like I was like, I don't make sense and I don't know what to do about that. And I was really upset about it. Um and now it's like I think that there are some of us who fit really nicely into jobs that exist and it kind of all clicks and that is fantastic. And some of us are a little unusual in the way we're
Mhm.
built, right? Like we've got
Yeah.
things that just don't quite like make up. But I found something that I can actually help people with and I can actually use like skills that I've got and that I'm so excited to use. And I'm getting like feedback where people are like, thank you so much because this is so much better than I could have done for myself. And like, it's perfect for me. It totally resonates with me. And it's like to be able to kind of reach into somebody's heart and like, oh, I see what you need. And then just go and get it for them. Like, it just, I don't know, it's like the best experience. So yeah, it feels so good when you kind of figure out how to use what you've got. Um, Especially after a long time of trying to fit in and not really quite fitting in. Um, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so cool. So cool. So tell me, you've been in the nitty gritty of building a business.
Mhm.
What has that been like from the ground up? What's it been like?
So much fun.
That's
So
oh, that's so good to hear.
I mean, it's not like no, it doesn't make me nervous. Sometimes I'm like a little impatient, but it's mostly just really fun because I get to build what I want to build.
Mhm.
And like I said, it changes every single day. I'm like moving on to like new problem, like, which sounds negative, but it's not really negative. It's just like something new to think about and work on.
Mhm.
And it's so much fun. I've met so many new people. And people that like I would have never crossed paths with before. It's just it's it's super exciting and validating. And I feel like I'm so excited because I feel like I'm bringing a new product into the world, like something that doesn't exist.
Mhm.
And I'm like, oh, like a new way that people are going to be helped. Like I'm helping folks that the art industry doesn't really help right now. And that's like, it's such a good feeling. Like because I have this really honest belief that everyone should own original art. And there are so many artists out there that are making like really interesting, exciting work. And it's affordable. And I mean, I understand like, the economy is like a little difficult right now, but it's not like so out of your range that you would think. The thing is that there's no one bridging the gap between um, artists who are emerging and professionals. So if you're not that blue chip customer, there's no one really like helping you navigate this. And that's what I do. And so the fact that I can help out these two groups that I love makes me so excited. And I'm so happy that someone's doing it and it gets to be me.
Mhm. Yeah.
So yeah, exciting.
Yeah, yeah, you saw this hole in the market and you realized, oh, I have the exact skills needed to fill that hole and to serve this group of people. So talk more about what kind of people should come see you.
So anyone with a little bit of money to spend, and it can really be like, first of all, even if you don't come and see me, like you can buy art at any budget.
Mhm.
You can buy like even if you just want a $50 print or a $25 print, like you can support an artist and not go to a big chain store just by buying a print directly from the artist. Okay, so now that that's out of the way, if you have a little bit of extra money to spend, like maybe a couple thousand, maybe,
Mhm.
okay, and you want to bring some personality and some depth and meaning into your home, or you're curious about art and you don't really know how to get started, you're intimidated by galleries, anything like that, those are the folks that can come and see me, and I will walk you through a process to kind of figure out what it is that you need in terms of meaning, in terms of your aesthetics, in terms of what you like in art. Not everyone likes the same thing, and I do not judge what people like. My problem in life is I like everything. Um, so I'm always happy when someone likes something because I do too. Um, and yeah, and I help people kind of navigate that process and choose things for them that I think are perfect. And if they come back and say, this is good but not great, or I don't like this at all, then we just go back to the drawing board and we figure it out. So yeah, anyone who wants a little bit of art, wants to add some depth and meaning to their home,
Mhm.
here I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, more questions for you. Well, first I want to say your onboarding process, I had the privilege of participating in it. I was obsessed with it. It was so much fun because it's kind of like almost feels like a personality test where you're just talking about you're doing some self-reflection and talking about what you like and what you don't like. And I felt so much more equipped to even talk about art just coming out of the onboarding
Oh,
process.
amazing. Great.
Yeah, like something that I learned about myself is like I like those soft strokes, right? Which just makes sense. It's what I like in my fashion, it's what I like in my makeup, it's what I like in just everything. We don't need to get into it, but it goes back into my color season, which
Which we could also talk about, but we don't
we
have to
could
talk
talk
about
about.
that here.
Yeah, you're right. We'll do a different podcast episode. So it really, I even just going through your onboarding process, I felt so seen and felt so more in tune with myself. So that's something that
That's so
people can really look forward to going through this as well. Is like even just the beginning steps, you will feel more equipped with
that
art knowledge.
makes me so happy because so first of all, I knew what you would like just by looking at you. I can tell, like I could tell
Amazing.
just by looking at you, like the first couple of times I was like, oh, I know what she's gonna like. And I built a board for you like early on that I think was like pretty close before
Yes, it
we went
was.
through the onboarding. Um, And yeah, so I think that art has come to be a topic that is sort of it's exclusive. It intimidates people, and that's really, really not what it should be. Art is a reflection of God's beauty. It's a
Mm.
reflection of our experience here in the world, and it's really for everybody. And so yes, I have a business. Yes, I am, hoping to make a living off of this. But my my honest desire is that I help people engage with art in a way that they may not have before. Um, I want to show them who they are in that world and get them interest and get them more involved in it. And yeah, we do that through the onboarding. And then my hope is that as the business develops, I'll be able to do more teaching and more things like studio visits and gallery visits, so that art really becomes a part of everyone's life. I don't agree with the idea that it's only for a certain collector. I think everyone should be doing it, because it reflects your depth. It reflects who your experience
Mm.
in this life. And I think
Yeah.
that it should be something that everyone engages with.
Mm. I'm gonna have to re-listen to this episode to get that quote because that was so beautiful. It reflects your depth, and yeah, that makes it just brings out what I was saying of I felt more in tune with myself,
Me too.
and I think that's what people can look forward to with going through your process. And also something else to say that I want to say just about working with you and getting more involved in art myself after working with you because I wasn't involved with art at all. I even go into coffee shops now, and you know how they usually have a lot
Yeah.
of times have local artists, and I think, oh, I could buy that and I could support somebody in my community. And I never would have thought that before because I'm like, oh, I'm not going to spend $200 because I just had a cheap mindset, honestly. And now I see it so differently. And that doesn't mean I'm going to go out and spend $40,000 on a piece of work, but it has freed up this space of my mind or like activated this part of my brain that had never been activated before. So absolutely, that's something that people can look forward to with working with you. And just, oh, good. I'm so glad.
So happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because yeah, people have a block on it. And
Hmm.
but it's just think of it as like a new fun thing to do, right? Like it's like, oh, I like shoes. I like whatever. It's like, okay, this is just like this new fun thing that I can find myself in, and at the same time I'm supporting somebody. Because artists need support. It's hard. It's hard work. I used to paint and draw, and I would go like after my finance job, I would go home and then go to my studio and work until like 10 o'clock at night and then go back home. It's a lot of it's difficult, and you put a lot of yourself into it, and then it really hurts when you you put something that like is so deep to who you are on the wall and no one cares. Like that really hurts. So I yeah, I'm happy that you're starting to engage with it, because artists also need that encouragement. They're bringing something really pure into the world. Maybe not all of the art, okay, but like most people come into it, like no one's going, well, there are a couple of exceptions, but most people are not going into art, to like make themselves famous and like whatever. It's pretty pure, and I think it's really, really a good thing to support. That creativity is a good pure thing, and we need to kind of, with at whatever level we're at, engage with it. And that's
Mhm.
so I'm just that makes me really happy that your perspective has shifted. That's like, okay, job well done.
Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. And so I know that that's going to happen for anybody who comes to you and comes to your services. So you, anyone who is just wants to kind of engage with everything that we just talked about, has a little bit of money to spend, what are they going to come away with? We talked about that depth, the reflecting the depth of who they are,
Hmm.
but tangibly, they're coming away with
Art.
gallery wall and connections to or actual art, right? So talk a little bit more about that, how you can
Yeah, so they'll get a gallery wall, and that's, that's flexible, like, if you don't want a whole gallery wall. But if
Mhm.
you're looking to add a couple of pieces of art to your home that are really, beautiful, they're meaningful. You don't know how to like arrange the art. I just did something for someone who, like, she just loves being a mother, and she sent me her kids' artwork, and I was like, let's put it in, let's put it onto the wall. So we're putting in, like, the wall is about you. So you're going to come away with something that is beautiful, meaningful, for your living room, your bedroom, wherever you need. And you'll come away with a deeper understanding of art, a deeper understanding of yourself and your own aesthetics, and what kind of reflects who you are. And yeah, and then also folks who buy a gallery wall will get like a little booklet that kind of explains who the artists are and what the work is about, so that when people come over, you kind of have those bullet points ready to talk about. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is so elite. I don't have a home right now, right? I'm in an apartment. If I had a house, you best bet I would be touring everybody around the house, telling them all about the art. So that's so cool that you enable people to share what they've learned and to share that with the people around them, and then
Yeah. Well,
hopefully those
because
people then come to you again as well, and they can get their house done.
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean that would be great. Yeah, or your home is a storytelling vehicle.
Mhm.
This is something like I have a French background, and in France, it's like very much that way, where you don't really like decorate your house in a specific style. You collect over generations, actually, and the home becomes a way for you to tell people who you are. So when they come over, they're like, "What is this piece? What is this table? And where did you get that dish and that painting?" And that's what I'm hoping to bring to other people is, the fact that this is like a highly individual thing that you can show your aesthetics, but this should also talk about you and your family, and it's a way to kind of tell that story. So yes, that's my last point.
That is beautiful. That's beautiful. So I also want to encourage people, like, you spend, sorry, I'm sorry if it feels like I'm coming for y'all, but you spend $1,000 on the floor, thousands of dollars on countertops, probably hundreds on paint. Like, you put money into your home, don't stop at art. Like, that's like having the milkshake and not putting the cherry on top, you know?
That's where the
Uh,
quiet luxury comes from, I
Yeah.
think. You know,
Yeah.
I do. I think that's true. I think like like your neighbors will have a similar paint color, but you have the painting. And it's not about comparing, but it's about, you know, that kind of that depth, I
Mhm.
think, is where I think that's where the art is, where that depth and like sense of luxury comes from.
Mhm.
But
Absolutely. Celebrating the individuality in all of us.
yes.
Yeah. Okay. So when you're looking back on Delphine 6 months ago, what advice would you give her as she's kind of looking into coaching, or anybody who would be in similar shoes?
Okay. So a lot of career advice is about following your passion, um, which is important, and you and Kelsey talk about that. But I think, but I think, and I'm not trying to like contradict you, because I actually think that you would say the same thing. But
Mhm.
um, I think you should also look at what you can contribute. We're in this life to give, and to receive, but we've got to be thinking about what we can give. And I am not great with data.
That's my
uh,
financial analyst.
but I'm highly empathetic, and
Mhm.
I'm very good visually,
Mhm.
and so I can give to people who maybe don't have as much of that, and they can give me other things, and we're here for exchange, right? So, like, think about what you can think about what you can give. trying to get into that service mindset, and not service mindset where you're sacrificing yourself, but like service mindset where you're like, I've got something that other people need. And it's just about kind of figuring out what that is.
Yeah. Wow. So beautifully said.
Thank you.
I have nothing to add on top of that because you really nailed that. I echo everything that you just said. It's completely in line with our philosophy here. So tell the people, Delphine, Instagram, website, where can they find you and what are they going to find?
Okay, so if you go now, I know I have a difficult to spell name. So I have a difficult name, like for myself, and then I chose a business name was also difficult. So I'm going to spell it. It's Poiesis, Poiesis, Art Advisory. And if you go onto Instagram and look me up, you are going to find styling on art. So I take paintings, I style them in rooms, I style them with other paintings. I do Insta gallery walls. I do artist features, so you can like sort of learn about what's out there. And I also have a website, poesisartadvisory.com. There is a freebie on there about learning about your gallery wall style. So if you want to kind of like dip your toe into art and don't know where to start, that's a really good place. And so, yeah, I'm there. Send me a DM if you have questions. I love talking about art. So even if you're not interested in buying services, just come talk to me about art because that's what I'm here to do. And I'm excited about doing that.
Oh, that's amazing. And I really should end it right there. But one more question for you, just to give you the opportunity. What's the meaning behind the name so everybody knows?
Okay, so it's Aristotle. And he separated human activity into 3 categories. There's theoria, which is thinking. There's praxis, which is doing. And then there's poiesis, which is creating. So it's just anything that kind of like comes out of that impulse to create.
Yeah. So beautiful. I could go on and on and on for hours talking to you just about the beauty of your story and the awe that I have in what God is doing, and also your ability and your obedience and commitment to just discovering that step by step. So thank you so much, Delphine, for being here. And every single person who's listening, go follow on Instagram, reach out. Trust me, you're going to have a conversation that is going to help you discover yourself and how you relate to the world and how you exist in the world, and help you move forward more confidently and more beautifully.
Oh, thank you. And same to anyone who's looking for a career change, reach out to Audrey and Kelsey. You will not regret it.
Thank you. So nice. Okay. Thanks, Delphine.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. To get an even more meaningful head start into your calling, head to thecalledcareer.com, where my fellow career coach Audrey and I have created a whole suite of free resources and tools to help you get clear and get a job today. For those who are definitely ready to land a job or start a business in the next 6 to 12 months, we're here to help you biblically and practically discern your calling through coaching, reflection, and deep market research. Identify the job that's aligned with it, even if you currently have no idea what you want. Rebrand your resume and LinkedIn to translate your background to appeal to your future boss. P.S. We take this off your plate and do this for you. Also, we'll teach you how to land referrals and get attention from leadership through networking. Again, if that makes you nervous, we have these emails and LinkedIn messages literally written for you so you don't have to sweat. We're also here to give you unlimited interview practice so you're prepared to address every elephant in the room and knock selling yourself out of the park. Then we'll round out with helping you negotiate your salary so you land thousands more. Just so you know, recent clients have gotten $8,000 to $50,000 salary increases, even though they were totally non-traditional candidates. That's because we specialize in helping non-traditional career pivoters land jobs they're ecstatic to serve in. It takes work, but we're here to see you through until the end, when we're celebrating that day that you send me an email in all caps and you say, Kelsey, I got the job. Then you could be on the podcast. But I'll be here until then, keeping you accountable and encouraged by meeting with you literally until you land the job you want, even if that's up to 6 months from now within our program. Apply to join at thecalledcareer.com, and I'll see you next week here at Answer the Call. Bye for now.